Hello, one and all. Welcome to another episode of MMA Vision Analysis. This one, I'm here to talk about the 230-pound Israel Adesanya. Adesanya is looking as big as ever ahead of his title fight against Dricus, champion of the middleweight division, for that middleweight belt. But before getting started, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification to get all of this that is new from this channel, your channel, the one and only MMA Vision Analysis. Recent picture circulating shows Adesanya in a frame bigger than we've ever seen him before, at least in recent times in the UFC specifically. I think that there is a strategy behind Adesanya's gain of, it's not necessarily, there's two different kinds of weight. Obviously, there's muscle mass and there is actual fat that you can gain from the pictures that we see online. It could be deceiving. Is Adesanya look like he's gained a significant amount of muscle mass? And I see the logic behind that. If you were to compare Adesanya to somebody like Sean Strickland, who he lost to last time around in that octagon, or the current champion of the division, Dricus, you would find one thing that's going to stand out. Obviously, Adesanya is a taller, slimmer guy than perhaps many other fighters in that middleweight division. In all honesty, I do understand that 185 suits Adesanya well, but I think if Adesanya tries hard enough, he can make 170. Just because his frame kind of predisposes him to fight at lighter weight classes. The fact that the guy fights at 185 with that kind of frame is very interesting, to say the least, especially for to take into consideration that Alex Pereira fought in that division, and now that is the current light heavyweight champion, and possibly that's the future heavyweight contender, at least. So guys who have huge frames fight in that middleweight division. I don't necessarily look at Adesanya as the guy with the biggest bones, bone density-wise. Like if we were to look at Strickland, we would see that he's a tad bit shorter. I want to say Strickland's like 6 foot 6'1", like 2-3 inches shorter than Adesanya. Adesanya, obviously the longer guy. But if we were to compare torsos and thighs, you would see that Strickland is kind of built like a tree, in all honesty. Bigger torso than Adesanya. Adesanya has longer limbs, long legs, very long legs, that is, and long arms. But if you look at this, if you focus on his torso, you're going to come to realize that the guy actually has a pretty small torso. He just has long limbs. So this strategy that he's implementing now, the fact that he's gaining muscle mass is a brilliant idea, in all honesty. I'm not sure how that's going to hinder his speed specifically. Adesanya is someone who's very well versed in the world of mixed martial arts. He is somebody who has probably the highest fight IQ, I want to say, out of anybody inside of that octagon. Striking solely, I do understand that there are other names that can be brought up, the likes of John Jones, Islam Makhachev, you name it. What I'm trying to say here is that specifically striking, I don't think anybody has better IQ than Israel Adesanya. So I do believe in him. I believe in his ability to have everything working in coherence in terms of gaining the muscle mass while still maintaining speed and beautiful technique. But the fact that the guy is around 230 pounds allegedly is significant. Let's say he drops down to 185, obviously for weigh-ins, but he's gained a significant amount of muscle mass. He's just going to be losing a lot of water weight. That's a lot of weight to lose. So we're looking at, if he really does weigh at 230 right now, we're looking at, let's say it's about 45 pounds if my math skills are correct in this situation. Around 45 pounds. Maybe a little bit of that muscle will go, as well as some probably a severe case of dehydration in this case. So I'm not sure if this is gonna pay off for Adesanya, but obviously I believe in the strategist that is Adesanya, and his camp also is a very tactical, strategic, measured. Huge fan of his camp, specifically his head coach. And I really have believe in Izzy. I believe in Izzy with all respect to everybody in that middleweight division, including obviously the current middleweight champion Dricus. But I have no doubts in Izzy's abilities to implement the plan to the furthest extent. And I really do see the logic behind it all. He's gaining the muscle mass to be able to control the center of the octagon against the guy who naturally has a bigger torso, the likes of Dricus or Sean Strickland. Obviously, if you're to look at these guys, you'd notice the difference between Adesanya and those guys is that Adesanya has longer limbs, smaller torso, and vice versa. Those guys they're not smaller guys, but they have shorter limbs with a bigger torso. That's exactly the case, and I think that's where Adesanya's strategy is coming in, gaining that muscle mass, making that torso a bit bigger, just so you can push these guys around, or push them back at least, because Strickland was able to control center of the octagon pretty much all throughout the entirety of the fight. If you made it this far, I appreciate you for sticking around. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and like, subscribe for more.